Hi, everybody. This is Martha Gabler. It's really great to have Joey here to tell us more about her special needs tennis. But I'd like to let everybody know that Joey is a level 2 tag teacher. And my question, the first one to Joey, is how did you get started with TAGteach? And what was the one feature that really pulled you in?
I think it was back in early 2006 when I first heard about TAGteach. I was connected to the Karen Pryor website and all things going on in that, and TAGteach started to come out through that. So I think it was early clicker expos and things like that where I started hearing about it. And because I'd been doing so much clicker training with animals, specifically dogs, and seeing how amazingly brilliant it was, it was just so duh. This is such an amazing learning tool. Why would it not function in the most efficient way in working with people?
Oh, that's great. So it was really the results that you were getting that pulled you in.
Yeah, and the exciting relationship I was getting with the dog that I was really first using clicker training with.
And where did you first start using TAGteach?
It was back when I was living in the Midwest. I had a training facility there and started using it with, just like we were just talking about Teresa's Clicker Expo, using it with the owners to have them learn skills without their dogs and then apply them to the dogs.
That's
so
great.
Somewhat in private training and somewhat in group class training.
That's great. And what was your most memorable, well, maybe we'll get to that later, what was your most memorable TAGteach teaching experience? And do you want to talk about that now, or do you want to talk about that after we talk more about special needs tennis?
You know, I'll go ahead with that now. It's really
okay.
I've had so many great experiences with tennis and seeing the skill acquisition of the players that we work with. But most recently, I've been working with a client become friend whose husband recently had a very severe stroke. And she contacted me knowing that she'd heard me talking about this TAGteach stuff. And so we got together. I flew down to California and met with her and her husband and worked through some things that they could be doing and using TAGteach because he had no other communication ability. And it's been amazing, the skill and the abilities that have come. And I got a chance to watch the therapists, and they got a chance to kind of see some of the TAGteach. And I have to say that Claire will tell me just about every time that she gets far more behavior response with her husband when they're doing TAGteach sessions than she sees the therapist getting. So that's pretty exciting.
That is, and that's so important because here is this man who's had this very traumatic medical event. So, wow, that's great that he's making that kind of progress.
Yeah.
Whoa, very powerful. Okay, so you were very successful in bringing TAGteach to your tennis program. Could you tell us about that?
Yeah, it started not too long after I found out about TAGteach. I started taking tennis and working with a coach, and we were just chatting along, and all of a sudden it hit me one day. It's like, hey, I want to learn this skill efficiently. Why have I not brought TAGteach into this sooner? So I started kind of, feeling my way with my coach and talking about what I was doing with dogs. He was very interested in dog training. And I just brought my dog one day and showed him sort of the methodology and just said, people are using this in human learning. And he was really pretty open to it. I had a feeling he would be. So we started playing around with incorporating TAGteach into my tennis lessons with him. So he was my first coach. Teresa actually got to meet and work with Mark on one of her visits out here. And from there, it was one of those things where coaches kind of move to different facilities and change clubs that they're working with. So I'd have to incorporate a new coach and just slowly bringing each one of them along. I think I'm up to about 6 or 7 coaches now that I've worked with and have slowly brought them along into the TAGteach.
Well, that's great. That's great. And how did they react? I mean, what were their positive or negative comments?
You know, all of them have been extremely positive, and one of the reasons was how carefully I selected the coach that I was going to work with and getting a feel for their mindset and teaching their craft, as well as how they interact with their players, and just kind of it's like what I put together in the gardening metaphor is that
yes.
you really prepare the soil to be receptive to the information that you're going to give them. So I've not had a coach that have said no. And mostly because it's being very thoughtful about who might I share this tremendous gift with, who's going to actually receive it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so
right.
It's been pretty much all positive, and they've gotten such fantastic results and enthusiasm from their other learners that they're all really excited about it.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And then when you got the coaches on board, you started working with the special needs kids.
Yeah, I worked with some junior programs with the coaches that I had incorporated with me, and then we brought it into some of their group junior classes, which was really successful. The kids loved it. And then I had an opportunity to participate with the special needs tennis, which is ideal situation. Our group has grown from 4 to 8 students now, and all of them are somewhere on the autism spectrum. All but a couple of them are essentially nonverbal.
Wow.
So it's just been a perfect marriage of methodology. And the volunteers and the other coaches that participate have a mindset of success. So it's been really wonderful in sharing the TAGteach methodology with them. They're just so open to having success and seeing it. So,
wow. Well, what is a common tag point that you use when you start a special needs kid on tennis?
Oftentimes it's going to be maybe an example is our stationary behavior, where the students hug their racket. Which gets their hands still and rackets from being swinging about. So that's the like number one behavior that we work on is when you're not up doing an exercise, then you hug your racket.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's one of the foundation ones. And then it becomes really pretty individual with each of the students because they are varied. There are some things like the hug your racket, land on your mark, things like that are across the board. But we really try to be as individual as we can in working with it.
Wow. Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So you have 8 students there now in the special needs tennis.
Yeah.
And you said that the director of the center there was interested in talking to you about expanding TAGteach or something of that sort?
I had gone in, it's probably been, I want to say it's been about 2 years ago now. I'd set up a meeting with her as I was seeing the really great success in working with the individual coaches that work in the facility. And, people were kind of aware of what we were doing. So I set up a meeting with the director and made a little PowerPoint, walked her through what TAGteach is all about. I had actually done the under 10 tennis certification with her. I'd really tried to find a lot of ways to serve the organization before I kind of presented this new material.
Right.
We had a great meeting and she got it. She's one of those that, she already had, spending 20 years really focusing on under 10 tennis, she had a lot of mindset that so flowed nicely into the the TAGteach philosophy. So as our program in special needs has been growing, she knew we were incorporating it. And so a couple weeks ago, she stopped me when I ran into her and said, "Are there ways we can use this more?" And I said, "Oh, yes, there are."
Great.
So we're planning, I'm working with the other coach, we're planning a parent meeting, and we're doing a more in-depth training session with the volunteers that we work with. So she and I will be doing more in terms of incorporating it, as well as really incorporating the parents, which I'm really excited.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Have parents talked to you about it, or have you talked to parents about it, the parents of the special needs kids?
They're aware of our training method. We haven't been super overt about it. Wanted to really be very slow about incorporating and have them see success to kind of set the tone for bringing it in more fully. And
I see.
so now, we're just getting such great comments each week after the session from parents on how much they're seeing success and skill acquisition. So I kind of feel like that's the soil preparation for next step.
Yeah, that is wonderful. That is really wonderful. And that I think is so important. And we did hear you speak about that back in September, but that kind of slow, gradual preparation of the minds and the soil is really important for introducing something like TAGteach. That is great.